We're back with Sunday No Huddle with Robert Rosenthal of IlliniBoard.com. Robert, it's so hard to believe that we've seen the final game of this 100th anniversary season at Memorial Stadium. 6-1 at their home turf, the best record at home since 2001. How are you feeling about how the Illini performed at home this year?
I mean, season-wise, it's been amazing. Not just the games, but the weather and the game times. Look, Illinois fans are used to, okay, it's mid-October, it's an 11 a.m. game, it's still 46 degrees, it's windy, it's misting, you know, like, especially in November, you get these wind games and it's terribly cold and everything else. Not saying it was great on Saturday, but just the entire schedule has played out in this fairy tale sense for some Illinois fans. 6 home wins, which never happens. You know, a ranked team, now ranked again, and all these kind of perfect fall Saturdays. It's really been kind of storybook in the home game sense.
That's what I said after the Michigan game. It was very sappy of me, but I was like, how special that this is the 100th anniversary season. We get these amazing wins on these beautiful days.
Yes.
Couldn't have asked for anything more, especially with my first season.
That's right. It's
spoiled.
always like this, Courtney. Everybody was lying to you before. This is just what Illinois football always has been.
Of course.
Of course.
Well, the bye week proved to be useful for this team, as a lot of people expected. 38-6 win. Luke Altmaier goes for 2 touchdowns. Another really great performance from Josh McCray. What did you like about yesterday's game? Yeah,
I mean, it got back to the things that have been winning games. Big plays to Pat Bryant, big plays to Zachary Franklin. Defense making opportunistic third down stops. I mean, even that last Michigan State drive felt like the end of the Purdue game or the end of the Nebraska game where, okay, one more stop and the defense steps up and sack after sack. And, you know, it felt like the Nebraska game. They had like 3rd and 42 or whatever. Yesterday was 4th and 36 or however it played out. So it followed that old script. You know, they kind of got away from it in the Minnesota game, but this got back to that type of like, hey, this is what we do. We have a solid quarterback who has a really good read on these 2 receivers, knows what they're doing, and you know, has different kind of tailbacks that can do different things.
Yeah. Before we get into these last 2 on the schedule, yesterday was senior day for a really special, really accomplished group of guys. Who are you going to miss, like, from a personal standpoint? Who's your heart going to miss? And who do you think this team is going to miss next year on the field?
Well, I don't know if you saw this yesterday on Twitter.
I saw it, but I would love for you to talk about it.
I got permission from Pat Bryant before the season. I showed him the video. I'm like, here's what I have. So this is kind of a longer story, but it was an event in Chicago, and I rode up and back from Chicago with 10 players on the team, and I wrote about it, and I wrote an article about it. This was in January of 2023. You would expect that these guys on the way home were in like a party bus kind of, you know, the seating is along the side, and that's what we're riding to and from Chicago. And you would expect that these guys are going to be listening to some modern music. It was Keith Randolph and Johnny Newton at the time were in charge of the aux cord, and they started going with, hey, let's play the Phineas and Ferb theme song, or, you know, all these like Nickelodeon shows, this and that. Then they turned to Disney. And so I had on film Pat Bryant singing "Do You Want to Build a Snowman" from Frozen, and he turns to the window and sings to his reflection like it's a mirror. And I'm like, this is gold. But I told the guys that night, like, I'm not here to sell you out.
No.
But I showed it to him before the season. I said, how about if after you have a big game, I'll put the Frozen, and he's like, do it. Big game, I'm good with it. So I put it out there last night. You know, it's so, I don't know, it's so wholesome to me. That's college football. You're not going to see that side of NFL players or this and that, and everybody keeps it pretty buttoned up there. But these little moments of, look, these are still 19, 21-year-old guys. They grew up watching these Nickelodeon shows. They all know every word to the theme song, that type of thing. So it's just really, really fun to see those guys work their way through 4 seasons of this program and to have a great senior day yesterday.
Yeah. Pat is also who my heart is going to miss.
100%. He's a great interview.
I'm sure you saw when we gave him the mic at the start of the season, and he was just so good. Such a great guy. I hope and pray for a great rest of his career. All right.
And the thing about Pat, just one more thing, is that, you know, he signed 3 days before Bielema got the job. He signed on not knowing what any of this would be. not knowing if it would be even a passing offense. I'm sure when he heard Brett Bielema got the job, the thought is that Wisconsin offense that ran the ball, we're going to offensive linemen and this and that. I'm sure there were second thoughts there, but stuck it out 4 great years, and now probably an all Big Ten kind of season as a senior. It's great.
Absolutely. All right, the season ends with 2 games on the road. First up, this team heads up to Piscataway to face Rutgers. So tell me a little bit about SHI Stadium and the atmosphere up at a Rutgers game.
I've been asked, now that I travel and go to every road game, and I've been asked often, like, what are the hidden gems? What are the great stadiums? What are the, wow, I thought this would be better kind of stadiums? And I've always noted Rutgers as it's a surprise. No one knows it's sitting on a river, just right kind of on this riverbank. So if you're in the upper levels of the stadium, you see these trees along this river below you. It's a kind of a nice setting, especially on a nice fall day. A little smaller stadium. It doesn't really feel like a Big Ten stadium, but great environment. The people have been great every time I've been there. So it's kind of the hidden gem of fun, and it's very close to New York City. A lot of alumni from so many different schools can get over there and catch their team in a game. It's kind of a neat little spot.
Nice. The Scarlet Knights 6-4. They started the season hot before running into Nebraska and then dropping 4 straight. But they've won their last 2 games over Minnesota and yesterday over Maryland. So what's the challenge here for this Illinois team?
It's interesting. They went 4-0 in Rutgers went 4-0 in September, 0-4 in October, and now 2-0 in November. So hopefully they don't keep their month streak going. But it's a very similar team. Schiano's rebuilding Rutgers much like Bielema's rebuilding Illinois. It's that same kind of setup. It's not what Cignetti has done at Indiana with all the transfers, or even what Wisconsin has tried to do under Fickle and changing things, and we're going to do a different approach. Both of them have said, look, we're going to be a developmental programs that might take a bit, but we're going to just get on solid footing and keep climbing from there. So 2 very similar coaches who have been in the Big Ten before and are trying to build that kind of Big Ten run game and defense, and we do the fundamentals well kind of thing. So it'll be a very interesting match. I saw one of the early lines had it as a pick 'em, just straight up, like no line, no anything. Pick which team you think is going to win. It's that close. So interesting matchup. Yeah.
As we wrap this one up with only a couple of these left, if we can dream big for a second. A 9-3 regular season is still very realistic, very in the realm of possibility, and that has to feel pretty good as an Illini fan. What would that mean for this program and for the Bielema era?
I mean, since I was a freshman in 1991, the 9-win regular seasons happened in 01 and 07, and that's it. So 34 seasons, and that has happened twice. So a 9-win regular season would be amazing. Look, a 7-win regular season, I tweeted this yesterday as well, it's just the 5th time in the last 30 years that Illinois has gotten to 7 regular win seasons. So we are well past the Illinois norm. Oh, wait, I told you earlier that this was normal. So pretend I'm not saying any of this.
No.
But 30 years and only 5 times getting to 7 or more wins is such a crazy thing. So we're in that, I think we talked about it earlier in the season, we're in that gravy area now. Like any additional wins are just make it more crazy. A 9-3 is almost certainly the Citrus Bowl against the SEC team that doesn't get, is it Tennessee? Is it Georgia? Is it Alabama? It would get crazy at that point of who Illinois would be playing. But 2 more weeks, this team, they talk about their 1-0 mentality, so 2 more weeks to try and win 2 games and get to that 9-3.
Absolutely. Robert, thank you so much. Safe travels to New Jersey and then to Birmingham. Basketball season.
All over the country this week. Yeah.
We're in that busy time of the year for all of us.
That's
Illinois looking at a 7-3 record and looking to end the year with 2 road conference games.